In yesterday's meta report, we covered all of the trends among Pokemon Pocket's most popular top performing decks. Today, we're going to dive on into the juicy details of rogue new decks that posted 70% or better win rates in Pokemon Pocket tournaments the last week. Let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? Kick things off with a fantastic new take on Executor EX Wigglytuff EX that had a 7 and 3 finish. Executor EX remains the best card in Pokemon Pocket right now to attack when going first. It starts pumping out a crazy amount of damage while also having an incredible amount of sustain, giving us plenty of time to set up Wigglytuff EX or Mew EX in the back line as our final finisher. After playing with this deck a bunch, I have to say it's easily the best deck in the format against Gyarados that isn't directly attacking it while it's on the bench. You can often maneuver the game into a spot where if the Gyarados player loses even a single sleep flip from your Wigglytuff EX, it's going to be too much for them to recover from in your game. Leaf is an incredible upgrade to this deck from last season. She allows you to actually get your Executor EX out of the way before it gets knocked out a lot of the time, making your opponent have to chew through a ton of HP when you play it in tandem with Baby Wiggly and Baby Executor that you're switching into. Next up, we have a Zeb Strika Jolteon variation that I helped innovate and feature on the channel last week that posted a 7-3 finish. I've long talked about Jolteon being one of the most powerful electric cards in the game that just doesn't fit well into the Pikachu EX deck because Eevee is unfortunately colorless. However, if we focus on just being a largely one knockout point deck, attacking for efficient amounts of energy, Jolteon really gets to shine. Hitting for an average of 80 points of damage for just 2 energy is solidly above rate, especially for a non-EX card. The lightning typing here is also exceedingly relevant, with 3 heads on Jolteon as a nominal high roll, letting you clear things like Articuno, Moltres, or Zapdos EX in a single go. This deck list gets to play a single copy of Tauros and Mew as its supplementary attackers, giving you nice things to build up, while Jolteon or Zebstrika deal out damage for more minimal energy costs. The Drudagon, Tauros, Leaf, Giovanni core alongside a Stage 2 makes an appearance with Pidgeot EX this week. The big upside in my mind to playing this package with a colorless attacker is that you're able to play fire and water energy to attack with Drudagon on occasion. This is especially valuable in matchups where Tauros is not a meaningful attacker, such as the fighting decks that have become increasingly popular. This core is very reasonable because Tauros and Drudagon both being able to attack means you're not just left hanging in the games where your inconsistent stage 2 attacker doesn't fully come together for you. If you want to see this deck in action, I posted a highlight with it on the channel earlier this week, which I'll link in the video description down below. Next up, we have a truly mad scientist cook of Tentacruel plus Hypno that posted an 8-2 tournament run. This deck list, in addition to putting people asleep with Hypno's Pokemon ability, also has Baby Articuno alongside Misty to flip coins to paralyze as well. All of these decks' core Pokemon also have high HP and are single knockout points, meaning your opponent has to spend a ton of effort to chew through your board while also praying that they get to take a game action at all. The singleton copy of Lapras EX is an especially interesting form of top end because its healing ability is extra potent if part of the time your opponent's going to wind up asleep. Next up, we have a Moltres Blaine variation that's a pretty unique mix of cards I haven't seen before. We're looking to power up multiple 2 energy attackers in the backline that we can then shift between while our opponent has to deal with lots of pretty high HP single knockout point Pokemon. Thanks to X Speed or Leaf, we can get that Moltres out of the way, so it's going to ultimately be our closer in case our Blaine targets can't get the game across the finish line all on their own. Next up, we have an Eevee Dragon variation that posted a 5-1 record in one of our smaller pocket tournaments this week. I really like the idea that Dragon can both be a frontline stalling Pokemon, but it's also something that our two-color deck can put energies on to get attacking with. The idea of this deck having a ton of different single knockout point Pokemon with 100 plus HP means that when we utilize Leaf, we can shuffle our board around in a way that makes our opponent have to deal 4 or even 500 points worth of damage to fully close the game out, especially in tandem with Genetic Apex Vaporeon's ability to heal itself. This deck list has an incredible amount of sustain for something that's playing 0 EX Pokemon. Finally, we have a couple of interesting Aerodactyl EX variations, the first of which posted a 7-3 result accompanying Pidgeot EX in one of our tournaments this week. One of the big appeals to having fighting cards in this metagame is that you get access to Hitmonlee to make your Gyarados matchup quite strong. The idea of having two potent EX attackers in this deck list is quite appealing as well, with Pidgeot allowing you to deal with things that go tall, such as Mewtwo, since your hefty HP lets you survive things like Side Drive, while Aerodactyl EX is quite good into the smaller decks in the format, like opposing fighting things that frequently have a lot of things that have 80 HP or less. Finally, Greninja is an unlikely bedfellow for a lot of two-color combinations in Pokemon Pocket, and Aerodactyl EX is definitely looking to be the latest of them. This deck list actually posted a handful of results across different tournaments this week. That's easy to see why. It has some parallels to the other non-Aerodactyl EX Greninja fighting deck that's been posting results as well. It's unclear to me from a data perspective which of these two variations are better, but it's something I'm going to be interesting to track as the metagame develops more in the coming weeks. It has been incredibly impressive, the wide range of deck lists that have able to put up competitive results inside of Pokemon Pocket's thriving community tournament scene, given that our card pool has less than 300 unique cards in it right now. As always, I would love to hear what deck lists you've been having fun with that are off meta in the comments down below. If you made it this far into the video, I'd also ask that you smash that like button, and if you happen to be new to the channel, consider subscribing. I do data-driven deck roundups like this every week. We track top decks in the meta game. I play in lots of tournaments with off-meta decks like these so you can see them in some high-level play that's not just random ladder matches, and I'd love to see you back again. Thanks for making it all the way through to the end, and may your next pack be an excellent one.